Once more we rally, alma mater, hear our praise. Where the Wabash spreads its valley filled with joy, our voices raise. From the skies in swelling echoes come the cheers that tell the tale of your victories and your heroes. Hail Purdue, we sing all hail. Hail, hail to old Purdue, all hail to our old gold and black. Hail, hail to old Purdue.
The year 1994 saw Purdue University soar to new heights in the field of fundraising with the close of Vision 21, a 5-year campaign to prepare the university for leadership into the 21st century. Vision 21 became the most successful campaign in university history, far exceeding the dreams of even the most optimistic planners. Leapfrogging the initial goal of $250 million, the campaign raised more than $330 million from more than 135,000 donors. The campaign also doubled the annual giving rate to almost $55 million. The Purdue Alumni Association teamed with the President's Council and 2 of its largest alumni clubs to host receptions and banquets at 2 large Purdue strongholds during the campaign's final months. The Purdue Club of Chicago held a Purdue night at the Museum of Science and Industry featuring campaign co-chair Neil Armstrong.
As we move beyond the Vision 21 era, it will be time to prove our character. We should set new and higher goals. We won't fear the unknown, and we will not fear failure. Our university is truly something special. It's taken most of us far beyond our expectations.
A few nights later, the Purdue Association of Indianapolis hosted a gala featuring campaign dignitaries, including Vice Chairman James Dora.
And the successful conclusion of the Vision 21 campaign will not end Purdue's continuing striving for excellence. Indeed, there will be more campaigns for the future in the future.
Armstrong and co-chair Eugene Cernan were on campus in October for the Vision 21 Victory Celebration. Hundreds of students and staff members signed a huge card to mark the occasion during an outdoor rally. President Stephen Beering also bestowed the Order of the Griffin on campaign co-chairs Armstrong and Cernan and vice chairs Dora and Dick Hansen.
The recipients of the Order of the Griffin must be people who are strong in character and who have noble aspirations and who can rise to the needs of this university in an uncommon way of dedication and demonstrated service.
A campaign victory reception saw the Purdue Armory transformed with decorations and delicacies. A memorable Vision 21 victory program followed in the Hall of Music. ABC sportscaster Chris Schenkel emceed as Armstrong and Cernan reminisced about the campaign's accomplishments.
Purdue can and will be a very important part of the destiny of our nation and our planet if it continues to dream on a large scale and to insist on the highest standards for students and faculty. And is not that the very heart of Vision 21?
Purdue has changed, not just in keeping up with the times, but in staying ahead of the curve. And it has to do that. And the only way it happens is that if good people get behind it and apply their talents and their ideas, and yes, their money as well. I don't believe that there's anything the people at this university cannot do if they're willing to accept the challenge of commitment.
The program included the Purduettes serenading the 2 former astronauts.
Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, in other words, in other words, we love you.
Among the items funded through Vision 21 was the first Jane Beering Scholarship. Andrea Ellis from Warsaw is the first recipient. An anonymous donor established a $200,000 endowment to honor Purdue's First Lady. The scholarship is a full-ride grant similar to the already established Stephen C. Beering scholarships and fellowships. President Beering again was the featured speaker at the Founders Day banquet, an annual event held during Gala Week.
We are enthusiastically engaged in our present, and we are unashamedly optimistic and excited about our future. The first 125 years are a mere prelude to the possibilities of the new century and new millennium just ahead.
A bust of former Purdue President Arthur Hansen was unveiled at the banquet. Hundreds of alumni returned to campus to take advantage of the Gala Week activities, which included trolley rides around the Purdue campus. Many participated in the annual class parade. This year's parade ended with dedication ceremonies for Founders Park, the newly landscaped area behind University Hall. A plaque was unveiled bearing the names of 43 founders who helped shape Purdue.
Normally, we honor John Purdue with our walk to his grave and a ceremony at the John Purdue gravesite. Today, we have an opportunity to not only honor John Purdue, but the countless men and women, the founders that shared his dream. We get to honor them with this beautiful park that you see behind me.
Gala Week also means Grand Prix, and for the second year in a row, the race was won by Ian Smith, a resident of nearby Frankfort, Indiana. Leslie Lawson of South Bend reigned as Grand Prix queen. The Alumni Association also oversaw homecoming festivities. For the first time, a chili lunch was held in the Mollenkopf Athletic Center prior to the game. More than 2,000 alumni and fans took part in the event, which featured ice cream made with the recipe that many alumni fondly recall from the old Purdue Creamery. It was also an occasion to celebrate Purdue's 125th birthday with a specially decorated cake and a song led by Purdue Musical Organization's director Brian Bree.
Happy birthday, oh Purdue. All right, all you got. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
Many graduates renewed old acquaintances during homecoming weekend, including members of the Purdue Black Alumni Organization. Among those in attendance at a reception for the group was Chris Clark, the new assistant director of the Purdue Alumni Association. Halftime of the homecoming football game saw the return of the ever-popular Alumni Band. The homecoming queen for 1994 was Jennifer Liu, a senior from West Lafayette. More than 34,000 students were enrolled on the West Lafayette campus and 64,500 system-wide in fall 1994. New students were welcomed to campus with a parade to Mackey Arena and a special orientation. Students took advantage of the refurbished Loeb Fountain in Founders Park, which brings out the kid and even the most mature college student. The park has become a favorite hangout for students. At night, the park takes on an even greater beauty. The first Residence Hall room decorating contest gave students a chance to get creative. Contestants were judged on their ability to create a comfortable, home-like environment. The winning entry, chosen from 12 finalists, had a sports theme.
You know, this adds a lot more color and life to the room and makes it, I don't know if you would say more bearable, but it makes it a lot nicer to live in.
Merry Christmas, sing a song for a Happy New Year.
Students in the Purdue Musical Organization showcased their talents in the annual Christmas show.
Merry Christmas, it's a magical, lyrical, annual miracle. Sing it out loud, sing a song for a Happy New Year.
One Purduette, Colleen Wunderlich, doesn't let the fact that she's blind interfere with her desire to sing and perform.
And I just start formulating the different tunes in my mind and getting patterns in my mind about what note comes next. And I learn music very fast because I don't have that advantage. I can't pick up my music and look at it, you know, when I can't think of what the note is.
The Purdue All-American Marching Band welcomed a new Golden Girl in the fall. Alicia Bain of Oxford, Indiana, twirled as the girl in black for the last 3 years. The new girl in black was Dawn Vardaman of Eden Prairie, Minnesota. 15 students from the Department of Aviation Technology helped create an exhibit at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. The group worked on a Boeing 727 that United Airlines donated to the museum as a centerpiece for its Take Flight exhibit.
So what we did was we redesigned all of the flight control systems to operate on air, and we redesigned the landing gear systems to work mechanically with mechanical systems and electric motors.
A couple of students made flying history in June when they became the first college students to compete in a race for women pilots. Crystal Lewis of Casper, Wyoming, and Heather Penny of Denver, Colorado finished ninth in the 2,400-mile Air Race Classic.
It's a race of proficiency. See how much speed you can get out of your aircraft, and also it checks all areas of pilot's knowledge.
Back on Earth, Purdue helped prepare students for future flight with its 5th annual Aerospace Institute. The event attracts students in grades 7 to 12 who want to learn more about manned spaceflight and exploration of space. One of the activities is for campers to simulate weightlessness in the pool at the recreational gymnasium. In the fall, Purdue began a monthly ceremony to honor students who pass away. Called Golden Taps, the ceremony is held on Carey's Spitzer Court. Purdue's academic reputation received another boost when Business Week included the Krannert Graduate School of Management in its top 20 poll. Krannert was ranked number 2 in the nation in producing graduates with production skills.
And our
Physics professor Albert Overhauser won the National Medal of Science for developing the theory of dynamic nuclear polarization, or the Overhauser effect. He received his award from President Clinton in a White House ceremony. Dr. Stephen Badalak, Director of Research for the Hillenbrand Biomedical Engineering Center, headed a group studying medical uses for pig intestines. When inserted into the human body, the material may help reconstruct a variety of damaged tissues, such as torn ligaments or tendons, diseased urinary bladders, or severely burned skin.
We now believe that humans and mammals have got a greater ability to regenerate tissues than we thought we did.
A group headed by visual and performing arts professor Charles Parsons is using virtual reality to aid in theater set design. The group can study the interaction of lighting, sound, and set before construction begins.
With the advent of new rendering software and animation, we have begun to pursue this as a viable way to present our work to directors and as a tool to communicate.
A number of key administrative appointments were made at Purdue in 1994. Victor Lechtenberg became Dean of Agriculture. Lechtenberg had been serving as interim dean and has been executive associate dean of agriculture since 1989. Luis Proenza was named vice president for research and dean of the graduate school. He came to Purdue from the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. And Michael Wartell succeeded the retiring Joanne Lance as chancellor of the Indiana University Purdue University Fort Wayne campus. Wartell had been vice chancellor for academic affairs at IPFW. Registrar Betty Sudarth officiated at her last Hall of Music graduation in May. She retired in June after participating in more than 120 Purdue commencement ceremonies. The new registrar is Marlisa Roney, former associate registrar for research. As usual, the landscape of Purdue was changing. Construction began on the Purdue Bell Tower, a gift from the class of 1948. The 160-foot structure will feature the bells from the old Heveland Hall Tower. Fowler House underwent a $3 million renovation and was converted to a daycare lab and office facility for the Department of Child Development and Family Studies. Terry Courts met the same fate as Fowler Courts a year earlier. The 1950s prefabricated housing units were razed, and Terry House will be renovated to become the new home of the Purdue Police Department. The Grant Street parking garage also went under the wrecking ball. The garage will be rebuilt on the same site with more than double its old capacity for parking. The project should be done by fall of 1995. Nature's beauty and violence visited West Lafayette in 1994. Snow greeted students on their way to classes in January. Students, faculty, and staff took advantage of a rare lunar eclipse in the spring, with several academic departments providing equipment and expertise to enhance the experience. Meanwhile, a tornado struck north of campus in late April, killing 2 and causing considerable damage. The tornado, which struck in the middle of the night, was visible from the Purdue airport. An era came to an end in Purdue athletics as volleyball coach Carol Dewey announced her retirement after 20 seasons. Dewey was Purdue's all-time winningest single-sport coach, and she coached the Boilermakers to 4 Big Ten championships. Even more impressive is that every player who played 4 years under Dewey at Purdue received her degree. Fort Wayne hosted the men's volleyball Final Four in the spring, and IPFW became the first non-West Coast team to win an at-large invitation to the Final Four. Under Coach Arnie Ball, the Volley Dons lost to UCLA in the national semifinals. Sophomore Carissa Yason won the indoor and outdoor high jumping championships. Yason also earned All-American honors with her performances at the NCAA championships. The Purdue Athletic Hall of Fame inducted its first class of 13 in the fall. The former athletes and coaches were honored at a dinner in Indianapolis and were introduced at a home football game.
Against the buzzer luck.
Speaking of football, Coach Jim Coletto almost guided his team to its first winning record in more than a decade, finishing with 4 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties. Junior fullback Mike Allstott was team MVP for the second straight season. The A-Train ran for almost 1,200 yards. 1994 will be remembered as a year of unequaled success on the basketball court. Both the men's and women's teams won Big Ten championships, and both received number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament, something never before done by any school. The women's team, picked 5th in the preseason Big Ten poll, won a share of the conference championship. They knocked off Penn State, then undefeated, and ranked number 1 in a regular season highlight. Leslie Johnson was the center of attention for the Boilers. Johnson, who led Purdue in scoring and rebounding, was named National Freshman of the Year. After displaying the Big Ten championship trophy to a joyous crowd at Mackey Arena, Coach Lynn Dunn's team opened the NCAA tourney with home wins over Radford and Washington and headed for the West Regionals at Palo Alto, California. After a win over Texas A&M, all that stood between Purdue and its first ever trip to the Final Four was Stanford. The homestanding Cardinal had won 108 of their last 111 games at home and had never lost a tournament game on their home floor. But Purdue ignored those odds and blasted Stanford 82-65. The Purdue Alumni Association held a pep rally in Richmond, Virginia before the Final Four, and Associate Athletic Director Joni Comstock stole the show with her rendition of the Hey Girl. Despite their semifinal loss to eventual champion North Carolina, Purdue, which didn't have a single senior on its roster, showed it will be a force to reckon with for years to come. Meanwhile, the men's team also defied the odds and won the Big Ten championship outright. A comeback win at Michigan in the season's final week set up the finale against Illinois before a national TV audience. Led by 49 points from junior Glenn Robinson, the Boilermakers beat the Illini to earn their number 1 seed. Purdue beat Central Florida and Alabama to advance to the Mideast Regionals in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Alumni Association was there to put on a big pep rally.
The cheerleaders want you to practice your big dog bark.
The Boilermakers knocked off Kansas to reach the Elite Eight, where they were beaten by Duke. Robinson, who suffered an injured back against the Jayhawks, was at less than full strength against the Blue Devils. Robinson, who earned the nickname Big Dog from a janitor in the athletic department, was Purdue's first Player of the Year since John Wooden in 1932. In his 2-year career, he became the only Boilermaker with more than 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, 100 steals, 100 assists, and 50 blocked shots. It came as no surprise then when Robinson announced at a May news conference that he would bypass his senior season for the challenge of the NBA.
To go into the draft and possibly be a lottery pick or maybe even the number 1 draft choice. And I think that's a unique situation. And I'm here to tell everyone that if you ever have a situation like that, then I think that it's best to take advantage of it.
And it was no surprise when NBA Commissioner David Stern made this announcement in the June draft at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis.
With the first pick in the 1994 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Glenn Robinson from Purdue University.
Hail, hail to old Purdue, our friendship machine ever lag. Ever grateful, ever true, thus we raise our song anew. Of the days we spent with you, all hail.
From the monumental success of the Vision 21 campaign to the growl of the big dog, 1994 was a year Purdue faithful will long remember.